Hi, hello, friends and strangers. This would be my Wikathon reading vlog, and I'm starting the month by reading Wicked As You Wish by Rin Chopeko. I'm listening to the audiobook, and according to script, I'm at like 44%, and I'm liking it so far. Like, the magic system mixed with modernity in the sense that there are phones, there are things that we have now that exist in this world. The world building is amazing. So far, I'm liking the characterization as well. It's easy to pinpoint the different characters, and I love how there are a lot of Filipino references here. Not just the words, but the lore, the mythology, and the different fairy tales that are very familiar to me. Would also be very familiar to other Filipino readers. So I love that. I feel like I'm gonna breeze through this in the next few days, and I'm sorry I'm glistening as fuck. I just put on moisturizer, and yeah, I'll see you on my next check-in. Bye bye. Hi, hello friends and strangers, I'm back. I finished Wicked As You Wish yesterday, as in last night. The book is by Rin Chupeco, and I was reading the ARC copy because I was reading the ARC that I got from NetGalley, and I was also listening to the audiobook at the same time. And that book is fantastic. It was so good. It was amazing. It was unapologetically Pinoy because of the references and the Filipino characters. It's just so good. And I regret not reading this earlier because I don't know why, but I was intimidated by this book before. I don't know why, because I feel like it's one of those books that would require more than one brain cell for me when I'm reading it, and not at all. Like, I regret not reading it earlier because it's just so good. I'm sorry you're seeing my bare face right now. I just showered and I did my skincare and I'm just breaking out recently. So anyway, I don't care about that. I do, but we're here now, so I have no choice. It's so good. It's so good. Like, if you haven't read Wicked As You Wish yet, please do. It's so good. I also recommend the audiobook because it had me reading the book faster, and some of the Filipino characters have Filipino accent, but there are just some words that weren't pronounced correctly, and there was just one word, which is tangina, which is like a curse word for us, and in the audiobook it was tangina, and I was laughing so hard. But anyway, it still made for a fantastic read. So this is my first Wikathon book, and it hits 3 prompts, and I'll check right now which prompts those are. Okay, so I checked my Wikathon TBR, and Wicked As You Wish hits 3 prompts. It's Balangiga, Ilustrado, and Bailan. And I'm just so happy because, like, it's just one book, but I hit 3 prompts. But I'm still hoping to read all of the books on my TBR, but since this is my first Wikathon, and usually with readathons, I've learned to not put so much pressure on myself to read all of the books on my TBR. Same with my last readathon, which is the Mood Reader Bingo. I didn't put so much pressure on myself, and I wasn't able to read everything on my TBR. And yeah, fantastic book. I'm speechless with Wicked As You Wish. I wish I could be more eloquent with my review and my thoughts in the book, but if you don't know what this book is about yet, it involves fairy tales. Like, there's Avalon, there's mentions of Alice in Wonderland, the characters there like the Cheshire and Arthur Pendragon. So it's just so magical. It tackles modern magic, and there's a Snow Queen, there are some villains, some ice maidens and shit. It's just so good. Please, it's so hard to explain. When I finished it last night, I was contemplating whether to vlog immediately, but I'm like, fuck, I'm so sleepy, I'm so tired, and I just know that it's such a good book. So yeah, my next book is for the prompt Bagong Salta and Kayod. Bagong Salta is to read a book by an author you haven't read before, and Kayod is to read a book where it highlights the main character's profession, career, etc. So for that, I will be reading Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala, and I have the audiobook ready. I borrowed it from Libby, and again, shout out to Book Apothecary for purchasing this book for me from Book of the Month. So yeah, I'm very excited to read this. I will also be discussing this with other Filipino readers, bloggers, and vloggers, so I'm very excited for that. So yeah, I'll see you again on my next update. Bye bye. Hello, friends and strangers. It's Sunday. I think it's August 21, I think. And I haven't been able to film an update for the Wikathon reads that I have, but I finished The Wolf of Orenyaro days ago, last week, and it was so good. It was so good. It's so hard to put into words how amazing this book is. If in the first place you're not into fantasy or high fantasy, you don't have to be overwhelmed or intimidated by this book, which at first I was, because I feel like I won't be able to, or I feel like, as always, I feel like I'm gonna need so much brain cells for this book, but it turns out I didn't. Like, it's not as if it would not make you think. It would. It would also give you a lot of trust issues with the characters that our main character, the bitch queen, Talien, encounters. But one of the things that I love about this book is that it's heavy in characterization. It's amazing and it really drives the plot. And it's one of those cases wherein it really seals the deal when it comes to the character is the plot and the plot is the character. This is such an amazing example of that, and it's just amazing. It's so hard to convince people to read this, but immediately after finishing this, I went to Shopee, I went to Fully Booked to see how much the second book is, and I was so close to checking it out, but I'll definitely read the rest of the series because I'm so fucking curious, I'm so fucking mad, I'm so fucking frustrated with what's happening with their queen, Talien, and lastly, our good boy Kain. I ship them so much, and fuck Rael. Fuck him. I hope he rots in hell. And yeah, just amazing. It's so hard. It's just so amazing. Look at the tabs that I have. And like, I haven't been able to write a good review that would do this book justice, but what else do I say? It's unapologetically and inspired by Filipino culture, folklore, myths, and whatever. It's heavily inspired by that, which made me also like this book more. So after reading that, I read Bridget Bautista's Don't Tell My Mother. I'm gonna put the cover here because I only read this via ebook, and it's quite a short book. It talks about this young girl of 19, and she lives in a household wherein her mother is a true blue Christian, like homophobic kind of Christian, and it's frustrating to see how she has to experience the fat phobia, the homophobia, when she herself, the main character, is in the process of discovering who she really is, who she's attracted to, what her gender expression is, and whatnot. And she had to deal with that while she met an older woman who is on her 40s, and they started hanging out, and it's a sapphic romance, so I'm not gonna spoil anything, but that in itself already implies what some of the things would happen in the book. But yeah, trigger warning for this: there's fat phobia, homophobia, there's also manipulation, I think, on the side of the mother and the daughter. It's at the same time, it's also heartbreaking in a sense that some of the people here can't really express themselves in the suburban town, because it has such a small population that everybody knows everybody. And in case of like women getting knocked up early or being gay, it's so frowned upon, and everybody knows about your business and everybody judges you based on that, and it's just frustrating. But overall, it's an okay book. I think it being this short, the author didn't have much chance to explore the other characters, because there's ample enough characters here wherein you want to see why they are the way they are, but it's mostly focused on the main character. So yeah, I think I wanted to explore more of the characterization, because I'm someone who is looking for an amazing characterization, and there are just some, what do you call this, some parts of the storytelling and the plot itself that feels rushed. So, but I'm not blaming the author for that. It's more of like, it's a short, very short story, and it delivered what I think its goal is, like highlighting the importance of acceptance of others and not being homophobic and fatphobic. So yeah, it made me mad, it made me frustrated, but yeah, it did its job. So after that, the next book that I'm reading is The Gilded Wolves by Roshni Chokshi. I've been putting this off because it's only recently that I had a copy, because it's always out of stock in our local bookstores. So I started this last night, and I'm also listening to the audiobook via script. I'm not 100% compelled with the audiobook right now. Like, it is making me read it faster, but I think there's just something about the narration that is putting me off. But it's not as if I'm gonna DNF this book. I'm just gonna keep on reading anyway, and I'm excited to see the different quirks, the different traits of the characters in this book. This is a well-beloved book in the community, and I'm excited to see why and the reasons why it's really loved. So yeah, I hope I get to update soon with whatever I think and feel about this book soon. So yeah. Hello, I wanted to make a very quick update on The Gilded Wolves and how far I am in the book. And okay, so the thing that is throwing me off is the audiobook narration, specifically for Severon and Enriquez. chapters. I think the fake the fake French accent, it's turning me off and it's making me want to like set the book aside and just probably pick it up sometime in the future. But I'm going to try to power through, and if by halfway I'm really not feeling the audiobook narration, I'm just gonna continue reading it with the narration. But the thing is, so far with me reading books lately, I've been leaning towards books that I also have like audiobook versions on newbie or script. So we'll see about that. I am currently in chapter 10, I believe. Yeah, 11. Actually, I'm on Enrique's chapter, and I'm sort of dreading it because, again, it's gonna be the male narrator. I have no problem with the narrator for Layla and Zofia. So yeah, we'll see about that. I'll see you again. Bye bye. Hi again, friends and strangers. So I am currently editing my August Wikathon vlog, and I wanted to use this video as well as a wrap up of my August reading month, because there aren't much that I've read for last month. So I'm just gonna have a quick rundown of all of the books that were featured in this vlog and the other books that I read for the month of August. So starting with Wicked As You Wish, again, fantastic book, magical elements, very Filipino, unapologetically Filipino, loved it, 4.5 stars. Second is Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala, again, another 4.5 stars. I had a discussion with other Filipino readers about this, and it was a very enlightening and interesting discussion because I saw the book in a different lens, which is actually pretty much the point of having discussions with other readers, because there are just some things that you wouldn't notice in the first place when you were reading the book, because one, you have different experiences, you have different contexts when it comes to like point of view from where you are reading it. Second is we have very varied reading tastes, so it was very interesting. But again, with Arsenic and Adobo, it was a cozy thrill. It was a cozy mystery book, and I didn't have much expectations on the onset, so it was very easy for me to be satisfied with the book. And next book that I read is a manga, and it's called Signal 100. It's by Arata Miyatsuki, and it's a pretty fucked up book. It's about a group of high school students who are forced into a game where they are hypnotized to commit suicide. So there are 100 signals that would trigger someone to commit suicide. It's so messed up and gory, so there are trigger warnings for this. So if you are planning to read this manga just because of the very interesting premise, please do take note that there is very graphic suicide, there's gore, there's manipulation, hypnosis, death, and lots of murder. Another gory manga that I read for the month of August is called Brutal. It's the first volume in the Confessions of a Homicide Investigator, and it's by Kei Koga. Again, it's really brutal. Like it lived up to its name. This manga follows a detective who has a very twisted view or definition of justice. He targets individuals who are criminals and are just generally awful people, and that he calls that act a cleansing of the world. And as twisted as this may also sound, it was fun and satisfying for me to see this god-awful character's get what they deserve. It's satisfying in that sense because you can see how fucking awful these people are, and that somehow, in a very twisted way, you get justice through our main character. Trigger warnings though for gore, murder, rape, manipulation, violence, and torture. Next book I read is The Wolf of Oreñaro by K.S. Villoso. Instant 5 fucking stars. Fucking amazing book. Hands down. You should be reading this. Ass up. Put this on your TBR if it's not yet there. Amazing, amazing book. Chronicles of the Bitch Queen. I will fucking finish you. I just need time to read other books in my TBR, and I will get back to the series as soon as I... Next book I read for Wikathon and for August is Don't Tell My Mother by Brigitte Bautista. I give this book 3 stars. It was an okay book for me. I'm not sure though how I feel about this book, although if the goal of the book, I'm not saying that it is, but if it is the goal of the book, which is to enrage me about this homophobic Christian characters, then it totally served its purpose, because I'm totally enraged of all the homophobic people and the manipulation and all the judgment that the characters or our main character experienced. And it was a really short book. I think it was less than 100, but because it is a short book, it would somehow feel rushed and the characters weren't fleshed out enough compared to if it were a full-length novel, and I don't know, maybe get different perspectives of at least 2 to 3 more characters, because throughout the whole book we're only reading from the lens of the main character. So I think it would have been interested to see the different point of views of the different characters, whether the parents or the other love interests. The trigger warning though for homophobia, fat phobia, bullying, and suicide. Okay, so editing Pam again. I forgot about the last book that I read, which is The Gilded Wolves by Roshan Chokshi. I gave that book 2 stars. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't care about anything at all. I didn't understand the forging, the magic system. I didn't care at all. So I'm setting the series aside. I don't know if it's just the timing of me reading it right now, whether I would reread it again and like it even more, or like it at all. So yeah, it was just an okay book for me. And that's all that I've read for the month of August. I had a pretty okay reading month. I didn't put much pressure on myself because there are also other things that I'm doing, like learning Korean, so I had to set aside time to do reading, to do editing, even though I wasn't doing much of that, and also learning Korean. So yeah, it's been a pretty busy month, and I'm really hoping to get into the books that I've been wanting to read this September. I think they will be very chunky books, and I feel like I'll have to film another video for that. I think I can film a TBR for September, or I don't know if that would be counterproductive for me, but I feel like having a TBR out there would make me feel accountable for the things that I will be reading for this month. And with that, I am closing this video. Thank you for tuning in, for sticking around up to the very end of this video, and I hope you had a very good reading month. So tell me in the comment section below what your favorite read is for the month of August. I'll be looking forward to your comments, and thank you for watching me even though I have this phase. It's Friday. I wanted to relax. I have a candle on and I'm about to continue editing my video, so I'll see you on my next video. Bye bye.